Hey everyone! So the other day I received an email asking me whether or not this image was achieved with an in-camera effect or a Photoshop effect. And yeah, you can clearly tell this one is Photoshop. But I wanted to take the time today to show you just how easy of a look it is to achieve. So I already got this image loaded up in Photoshop. You can see my layers right here. And what you want to do is just make sure that your image is already nice and retouched. Skin looks good, hair looks good. It's just ready to go. And once you have all that done, make sure it's on its own layer. I already have it here as a background layer, and you just hit Command J. You're just making a copy. Go up over here to Filter, Blur, Motion Blur, and obviously the higher the number, the bigger the effect the filter is going to have. And if you change the angle, you're changing the direction of the blur. But for this one, I just wanted it at a 0 angle, and somewhere in the mid 300s works for me. That's fine. Click OK, and bam, she's nice and blurry. Now what? Well, we have one of two options. One, we can go over here, we can start playing around with our blend modes. Soft light, hard light, overlay. And yeah, it's getting rid of all the blurriness that's happening right here, but you still have that neat ghosting effect right here. But what it's also doing is it's darkening the image. It's adding a lot of contrast. You can see from the original to the layer that we just made. And for this image, I didn't like that. So what I did instead was I just went over here, put it back on normal blend mode, and then I hit Add a Layer Mask. Once you have a layer mask, hit Command I, and we're just hiding everything that's happening in that layer. Because the thing that you have to remember about layer masks are white reveals or shows everything that's happening in this layer, and black conceals or hides everything that's happening in that layer. And then what we can do is we can go in and add the effect where we want to. We do this by selecting our brush tool, making sure it's set to a low opacity. Anything below 20% works, making sure also that we have pure white selected, and we can just brush in the effect where we want to. Just brush that in. Brushing, 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 brushing. Pretty easy, right? I've already done it here with these two layers. I just made two copies of the background, and then what I also did was I skewed the layer just slightly, just to have more of that ghosting effect. The last thing I did with this image too is add a texture. And the thing that you have to remember about textures are always make sure that it's set to a low opacity and on some sort of blend mode. If it's on a normal blend mode, it's just going to sit on top of the image and it's not going to blend with any of the pixels, and it just doesn't look right. It looks wonky, and we don't want a wonky image, we want an awesome image. So again, overlay, soft light, hard light, or whatever one works for you. I picked hard light for this one. And the thing too about textures is we can do what we did down here and add a layer mask and just add in texture or remove texture where we don't or want it. Pretty easy, right? Oh, the last thing I want to show you today too was this image. This image was achieved by using an in-camera effect by just using shutter drag, a studio strobe, and a sheet. So as you can see, it's two different techniques to achieve kind of similar looks. Alright, thank you so much, guys.